I'm Mrs. Robertson, Deputy Head Teacher at Braywick Court School. I am also Head of Teaching and Learning. So today I wanted to talk to you about homeschooling, our curriculum, and what an amazing job you guys are doing at home and our approach and plan moving forward. Okay. So the thing that you need to remember is that parents are the biggest influence, most important influence in their child's lives. That you are their teachers, their guides, their leaders, their protectors and their providers, and that whatever you are doing with your children at home, you are doing an amazing job. And when your children look back on this time, they won't see all the lessons. They won't remember all of those things. What they'll remember is the experiences. They'll remember the experiences they had with you at home, not the things that they learnt in their lessons. So just bear that in mind. So the national curriculum. The national curriculum, which you can find online if you search for national curriculum, is split into many subjects, but for now, the important thing that you need to know is the national curriculum has been suspended across the whole country. As well as that, all statutory assessments have been suspended. That's phonics screening, SATs, the times tables test in year 4 as well. Even Ofsted have stopped doing inspections right now. So we are in completely unprecedented times. This has never happened to us before. But rest assured that every child in the country is in the same position. Every school in the country is in the same position. And we will adjust our curriculum moving forward. Every family has different circumstances. Everyone's setup is different. The number of children that you've got, the access to devices that you've got, your whole family philosophy and approach, your work commitments, your children's needs, they're all different. There's no one size fits all. And when your children are in a classroom situation, we manage all of those individual needs really, really well in a setting that we can control. And at the moment, we can't control all of that. We can't control your child's engagement. We can't control the technology that you've got in school at home. There are so many things that we can't control. We're just going to try not to worry about them, really. We've done the best that we can to make sure that you all have the best access to technology and resources that you need. And if there's any more that we can do to support you in that, please just let us know. But homeschooling curriculum has to look very different to the curriculum that we would have in school. It's not reasonable or feasible for our expectations of you guys and of your children to be the same during this period of school being closed. Collaboration and communication are key parts of our success at Braywick Court, and your children are used to working in a very collaborative, practical, dynamic and creative way. And they're not able to do that now in the same way that they could when they were in school. So how we're going to change our curriculum, how we're going to deliver our curriculum to them needs to look very different, because they're not able to bounce off their friends. They're not able to have a conversation. They're not able to ping pong between them and their teacher, access loads of different resources to help them engage in their learning and support their learning. So we have to kind of be flexible and dynamic, but also manage our expectations of what is achievable. For us, we are committed that home learning will combine consolidation of prior learning and revision, direct teaching of new content, a range of curriculum opportunities where possible, support and feedback for your children to the best of our ability, and us being mindful of their well-being, their health. That's our priority: health, safety and well-being of you, your family, your child, and our staff, all members of our school community. So we will aim to do as much of that as we possibly can. And as we move forward, what our curriculum looks like will change, I think. The initial sort of couple of weeks we had to throw together, we had very little time to plan it, but now we're already thinking about what's this going to look like after the Easter holidays. We don't know how long school's going to be closed for. We don't know how long we're going to have to work in this way. So we are reviewing and adapting our offer regularly. So maths mastery. So we use PowerMaths as a scheme, and I just wanted to explain to you a little bit about that. In school, we use the scheme as a guideline, a backbone really, a kind of a loose structure which we don't follow like a script. We don't follow it like a Bible. We don't complete every lesson in the workbooks every day. Our teachers use it as a guide for curriculum organisation and content and coverage, because that ensures we have progression throughout the school. But we mix it up with an awful lot of practical activities, discussion, investigation. A mastery maths approach means pupils acquiring a deep, long-term and secure knowledge of the subject. And I know those of you who attended our maths mastery training earlier in the year will have a really good understanding of what that looks like on a day-to-day basis. Fundamental number and place value skills are taught in the autumn term. They are revisited throughout the year, but all the fundamental building blocks that your children need to access the rest of the curriculum are taught in the autumn term. They have already been taught those. So please don't worry about covering those if the lessons that you're being given currently and moving forward don't cover those skills. They have been taught them already. The maths that we're teaching is carefully planned small steps of learning, small steps towards an end goal. We work a lot on varied representation of mathematical concepts. So this forms a lot of our maths teaching on a day-to-day basis in school. We'll be looking at showing one representation of a calculation or a problem, and then the children being able to demonstrate that mathematical understanding in more than one way to show that they have a really deep and secure understanding. That's harder to do at home because the children are used to accessing a whole breadth of resources in order to facilitate their understanding and to show us what they know. And we're used to a very practical approach to that. That's harder for you to recreate at home, but we will give you guidance as much as we possibly can. We work a lot on fluency, of really having a good grasp of those basic skills, and then the reasoning where we're able to apply them to reasoning, problem solving, logic, making sense of them and articulating and explaining what the children know. Again, we'll give you as much guidance on that as we can, but that's where the direct teaching sessions that you're going to get from your child's class teacher are really going to be helpful, because your class teacher will be able to explain that using the vocabulary and the approaches and the representations that your child is used to. Alongside this, I will be sending you home the overviews of our Power Maths units. So while we're doing home learning, there's likely to be much more of a reliance upon the Power Maths workbooks and scheme than there would be otherwise if they were in school. But what this will give you is a yearly overview where you can see what they've already covered in school. Although they might not have done every page in their workbook, they will have covered the units in this order, and the fundamental skills will be there. And it also gives you an overview for the summer term of what national curriculum objectives are covered in each lesson, so that you can kind of see where we're aiming towards, where the children have come from, where their learning is sited right now and where it's moving towards. And you can see where that is for each year group. The teachers are very mindful that we cannot teach all of the content. It's not possible for us to cover all of the content that we would have covered in school at home. It's just not practical. So the teachers will be making sure that they select the most crucial aspects of learning, the fundamentals, the most important bits of the learning, and that is what will be delivered to you guys at home. So if bits are missed out of this, don't worry, that's intentional. Trust the teachers that they're choosing the correct content for the needs of the class, and to make sure that we've got all those fundamental skills ready for when they come back to school and we move on to the following year. Okay? So, English. The English curriculum covers speaking and listening skills, reading, which encapsulates word reading, as well as comprehension, so the functional mechanics of reading, phonics, particularly in the early years and Key Stage 1, and comprehension, that's the understanding. Writing covers transcription, which is the handwriting, the mechanics of writing, and composition, which is the creative kind of composition of a type of text, as well as spelling, grammar, and punctuation. Speaking and listening elements are the bits which they are really going to be lacking when they're at home. They're not going to have that communication, that constant dialogue with a group of people where they can bounce ideas off each other across a class. It just can't be replicated in the same way as at home. That's where you guys can come in. That's where really talking to your child, listening to them, sharing stories, developing their vocabulary, all those kind of things are really going to be crucial. And reading is so important. It's so important to everything. If you do nothing else, reading with your child, listening to your child read, encouraging them to read, listen to our daily story time on our YouTube channel. That is so important because not only does it build their understanding of structure of stories and narrative, it fuels their imagination and it builds their vocabulary, which is absolutely fundamental. So we will continue to evaluate our curriculum delivery. During this time, what's really important also is that the children access kind of wider life skills, cooking, money, telling the time, typing, computing, organisation and timekeeping. When they're in school, the teacher is guiding them through their day of how they should spend their time, how long each activity will take. They have constant reminders of 10 minutes to do this, right, 5 minutes until playtime. It's very different when they're at home, but they can learn those skills. How long is it best for them to spend their time doing any one activity? Where should they be concentrating their time and efforts? How can they organise themselves throughout the day? Playing board games with their family, card games, teaching each other games, reading instructions and then applying them. And health and fitness and mental well-being is absolutely key. That's the most important thing that we need to concentrate on. So all of these aspects of wider learning, you guys can really focus on at home. So the other thing that you guys need to know is that at Braywick Court, we are in a transition period for our curriculum. We have been working all this year on mapping our curriculum, what it already looks like, making sure we've got progression there, and we're looking at how we were developing our curriculum for the following year to roll out in September. This has been worked on all year with teachers. At the moment, we've had to stop a lot of that work because we're concentrating now on adjusting our expectations for delivering homeschooling, and we are learning that as we go along. But our curriculum development is something which is coming, so I don't want you to worry about content that's being missed or things that they're not having access to, because if you're concentrating on those fundamentals and on those wider life skills, from next year, we're going to be looking at a different curriculum anyway. Our curriculum is going to change. We're going to be working on a concept-based approach, a dynamic curriculum which focuses on transferable skills as well as knowledge. And that would be rolled out from September. So don't worry, they're not missing anything which won't be either taught to them in a different way or a new point. As we're developing our new curriculum, we will be mindful of gaps in their knowledge. If anything that we should have covered that we haven't covered, we'll make sure it's added in for September. And just rest assured that we are mindful that this is going to be evolving, that we don't know how long they're going to be out of school, but that we will do everything we can to make sure that your child's learning isn't suffering as a result. If you have any further questions about curriculum or about our teaching and learning or any other things that you want to know about how you could support your child, please do get in touch with us, let us know, and we will do our absolute best to help you. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.